If I had to really name one car at the New York International Auto Show, which I thought was the best car of the show, I would probably have to say it was the Lincoln Navigator. Everyone was swooning over the Cadillac because that was the one that was the most advertised, the CT6. The XT5 not so much, and the XT5 will hit the streets quicker than the CT6 will. But the CT6 had a feeling of cheapness throughout the car that I basically could almost touch things and see where the future problems would be. Lincoln, however, had two cars at the show, the Lincoln Continental and the Navigator Concept, which is the one pictured here. The Lincoln Continental is pretty much uncompetitive. A car like that will never be able to compete with the Mercedes E-Class, and it certainly can't compete with the Mercedes S-Class. The same goes for the CT6. The CT6 just feels too cheap, even in its most expensive form, to compete with any of the W222 S-Classes or the E-Class, which are more solidly built. But when Lincoln showed off this Navigator concept, you can pretty much look around and you can see how everyone was just swooning over it. Like, they were looking at the color and they were looking at the interior. The interior, the running boards, everything was chromed out, polished. They had widescreen displays behind the driver's seat. The driver's seat was almost as wide as a sofa that you'd get from one of these Raymour and Flanagan stores. This was most likely, I would say, the best car at the show. Some people remarked that it looked like a very big Range Rover, which it actually does, but since Ford helped design the new line of Land Rovers and Range Rovers back when they owned the company, that's to be expected. But this car was so ostentatious, and the materials was just so shiny and bright and amazing, and the color that they used to show this off was just so perfect that there were a lot of people who were basically hypnotized by it. This is what Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury, or I can't say Mercury because Mercury's gone, but this is what Ford, Lincoln needs to be building. Will it have a V8? I don't know, but they really need to offer a V8 with this car. There are many people who would say, well, a V6 twin-turbo EcoBoost is enough and it tows more. That very well might be true, but the problem is you're dealing with an older demographic, the people who can actually afford this car in the first place, who grew up believing that a V8 was part of the top trim level of a car. You see, most of these people don't believe in disposable cars. They don't believe in leasing. They believe in financing a car. A lot of these older people, retirees who buy S-Classes and E-Classes, they keep those cars right up until maybe the replacement comes out. If they like the new one, then they get the new one. If they don't like it, they just hold on to their car and they keep paying on it. They're not into the disposable car culture like younger people such as myself, who see no value in the older vehicles because they want newer technology. But a car like this, a truck like this, built to what looks like the interior quality specifications of a Gulfstream jet, this is exactly what Lincoln needs to be building. Without a V8 engine in their Continental, it's not class competitive. 400 horsepower appeals to certain people, but the thing about it is when you have BMW and Mercedes and Audi putting out cars that have more than 500 horsepower, some people are attracted to that, and then when they see the interior quality, which is so much higher than the Americans, they adapt that instead and they prefer those German cars. But this Lincoln Navigator broke all of the molds. Along with the Cadillac Escalade, these are pretty much the largest full-size luxury SUVs you can get on the market. Even the Bentley Bentayga is not this big. Nothing else is really this big. In the American domestic market, these are the largest full-size 9-person haulers you can get. This is absolutely the car that Lincoln needs to build. And if they don't build this car, they won't be relevant for a long time to come.
That thing looks like a Gulfstream. The Model X has it only for the back. The front door is a regular door. This is good. Yeah, I'm saying Lincoln needs to build that. They need to.
They low-key try to make it like the Range Rover. The way how the back looks.
You noticed that, right?
Yeah.
It looks like a really big Range Rover. Everything in the Jaguar owner looks like a really, even that Bentley.
Yeah.
Everything looks like a really big Range Rover.
Yeah. I noticed it on the bottom, like the way how it's like on the Range Rover.
I have like the longest car show video, 3 hours
The battery life is good.
I have this OP supercharger, and it recharges phone 4 times.
Oh wow.
I brought it with me, and I actually just got it for 30 minutes and charged the whole phone right back. All of the negative ones, those two will go up. See, that's the reason the law says you have to make it so that the doors are independent and aren't.
Oh yeah, individual. Yeah, because
Even Lamborghini, they have explosives in the doors. So if the car flips upside down, the doors explode off just to make sure you don't get trapped.
get trapped in.
The regulations are pretty stiff.
It's been like that. They had it when that's something.
I think they had 60 months.